Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another Mitsubishi Montero channel video. This video is part 3 of the cruise control diagnostic and repair video. We finally got the clock spring in the mail, so let's open it up, see what it looks like. We'll install it. Shouldn't be that difficult to do. So this video shouldn't be a long video, but we'll just go through the process of reinstalling this thing. And maybe there's a couple of little things that you might need to know regarding the timing and everything else, and we'll talk about that. And then we'll go test drive it on the freeway and just make sure that everything works with the cruise control. All right guys, let's go for it. Let's open this box first and see what's in there. All right guys, so let's open this box up and see what we got here. So we got another little bag here. And then in here we have the clock spring. There it is. Brand new clock spring. And obviously right now it is locked with this little mechanism that I can see here. So once you install it, you pull this out so you won't lose the timing of the clock spring. And we are going to use the old little harness from the old one when we took off the old clock spring, and this little harness would basically go right here. Right there. Like that. So now we're ready to go to the Montero and install the clock spring. Okay, so we're getting ready to install the clock spring here. Here I have it right here. And remember, don't pull this out yet. But a couple things to notice is this little mechanism here, and it's got to be properly aligned with the clock spring. It's got a couple of little notches here that you can only put it one way, but the purpose of this thing is for the cancel switch. So let's say for your turn signals, you go, you make your turn, and then it cancels the turn signal. So that has to be aligned properly. And also we have these two connectors that connect to the bottom of the clock spring on the inner side right here. So we have, remember, this green cover connector here, that's for the airbag. And then we have the other black connector that goes over here. So let me see, let me try to do this with one hand while I hold the camera. So we have the airbag connector right there, and snap it in place. And then we have the black connector on this side. Okay, so now we have both of these connectors connected, and this little green cover snaps back in place, so everything here is connected properly. We still have these 3 connectors that we're going to connect to the bottom of the steering wheel, so don't worry about these yet. And then so now we have the cancel switch right here, and you can see those 2 little notches right there. You can see this one and that one, and those 2 align with this notch and that notch right there. So this is the orientation of the clock spring, and I think we need to rotate this a little bit like that. There we go. And then it goes in like this. So now you see how it's aligned properly. There. And then make sure everything is aligned before you snap it in place. So there you go. So now everything is aligned properly, and we have the two little screws that go here. Before we pull that off, let's put this cover back on here. Alright, so we got this cover back on there. It's not the easiest thing, you have to align everything properly. And then make sure it's properly on there. Okay. So now we have the cover on there. I'm gonna lock up the tilt now because I don't need to move it anymore. Alright guys, so now that we have all this stuff in there already, now we can pull this out. Now you pull it out just like that. So now the clock spring is centered. If you were to turn it right now and you lose your position, it's very simple to get it back, because all you have to do is just turn it all the way to one side until it stops, and then go 3 3/4 of a turn back, and then that's the middle of it. So that's one way to do it. But when you get a new like this one, they already have that done for you, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so now we have the steering wheel that we have to put back on here, and on here we do have these 3 little notches that are gonna align with that right there. You see there's 3 little not dents, but like little pins, and those guys go right in here that go on there. So let's try to put it on there, and I know that when I took it off it was centered, so let's see what happens here. So that's pretty centered right there. There it is. There it is. Okay, so now the lock, the steering wheel lock that is in there, it didn't come off, it lives in there, it stays in there. So I'm gonna try to get it with the Allen wrench and just snug it in. I'm not gonna tighten it yet, but just kind of snug it in. Okay, there it is. It's pretty snug. So now the steering wheel, so it's loose, but it's not coming off because it already reached that indentation point. So before I tighten that, I'm gonna connect everything down here. All right, guys. So here it's very simple, because all we have is the yellow connector for the airbag. We have the black connector where this white connector plugs into, and then we have this green lead where this red wire goes to. So let me plug in the airbag first. Okay, that's the airbag. And then we have this other connector. All right, so we got everything in there. We got the airbag connector, we have the other connector for the cruise control, and we have this little ground lead. So we kind of cram everything up in there. Everything gets crammed in there like that. And then we have our little cover. Remember our little cover here? There it goes. Okay, so we have the everything connected here. The little cover's back on there. Now all we have to do is tighten this bolt here, the detent bolt. Now I don't know how I could get a torque wrench in there, so I'm just gonna crank it down as tight as I thought it would be based on how it was when I took it off. Alright guys, so we're just looking for a spot here where I can confirm that the cruise control works now. We know that the light works, but what about the other functions from the switch? I'm pretty confident that everything's going to work, but the other thing I was going to say is when I was putting the steering wheel back on there, it didn't record properly on the camera. So but it's very simple. Just, you know, make sure the steering wheel is aligned properly and just tighten the bolt, and you'll be fine. The other thing is this battery on this Montero was disconnected for like 3 or 4 days, maybe more. And so now it's learning new things. It's learning shifting modes, idle, speed, stuff like that. So it might feel a little bit different when you do that. Don't think there's anything wrong. Eventually it will get used to your driving again, and it'll start learning certain habits that you have in terms of braking and shifting and stuff like that. So so don't worry too much about that. So let's go find a spot. I think we're gonna be right next to Torrance Airport, and there's a long stretch of road there that I can use the cruise control. I'm gonna try to set it up at 30 miles per hour, and then just kind of go from there, and then go up and down from there based on the control inputs. All right, let's stay tuned for that. All right guys, we're still driving there. So also the grease that I added to the turn signal switch, I could feel the difference. It definitely doesn't feel as clicky, and it feels a lot better. So be sure to do that when you do this job. Okay, so right now we're traveling 40 miles per hour. We are on Madison, approaching Sky Park. Some of you guys are familiar with this area, but if you're not, this is the Torrance Airport right here, and that's the Torrance Memorial Hospital. So we're gonna make a right turn here, and I'm gonna stay on this lane. And we are traveling at, let's see, we're traveling at 30 miles per hour right now. I'm going to turn the cruise control on. You can see the light come on. That doesn't mean that it's set. Now to set it, I have to push this switch downward. So there, I took my foot off the gas, I pushed the switch down, so now it's set. I would say at about 31 miles per hour. So I'm cruising at 31 miles per hour. Foot is not on the gas pedal, obviously. Now let's say I want to go 31 or 32. I push this up one, and that gives me 1 more mile per hour. See, now it's at about 32. Now let's say, oh, you know what, I want to go down to 30, so I push this down 1, 2. Now it takes away 2 miles per hour, so now I go to 30 miles per hour. And that's how you control it, just kind of based on the speed. You go a little bit faster, a little bit slower, but still maintaining the cruise control function. Now let's say, you know what, traffic's going pretty fast. Let me go up to 35 miles per hour. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I just gave it 5 miles per hour more. Now it's going to stay at 35 miles per hour. And it's going to keep that cruise control speed. Now, in order for me to cancel the cruise control, I could do it in a couple of ways. I can pull the switch back towards me, and that's the cancel input to the computer, or I can just touch the brake pedal. Either way will cancel the cruise control function. But right now, I'm still maintaining the 35 miles per hour. Let's say I want to go back to 30, so I go down 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it's going to go, still have the cruise control function, but 30 miles per hour. Seems like a little higher than 30, but you get the idea. Maybe I had to go one more. Okay, so I'm approaching a section where I have to stop, so I just touch the brake pedal. Cruise control function completely disables. Now the cruise control light's still on, but that doesn't mean that the cruise control function is still on. So that just means that that particular setting got disabled for this particular drive cycle. Now I'm turning here on Crenshaw. There's the Lexus dealer right there. And again, the cruise control functions anywhere above 25 miles per hour. So right now it's 35. Cruise control light's still on, so I just got to push this switch down and it'll set it at 35. And I just keep 35. Just keep 35 miles per hour and just function the way I just demonstrated. So another way to cancel it, other than pushing the brake pedal, is to pull this switch backwards. That turns off the cruise control. Now my foot has to go back on my foot has to go back on the accelerator pedal. All right, guys, I'm really happy with this repair. It was very simple, very inexpensive too. So let's go back to the shop and we'll close out the video and talk about a few more things. All right. All right, guys, well, it turns out we didn't have to go on the freeway to demonstrate that the cruise control is now working properly on the Montero. If you have a Montero and it's got cruise control and it doesn't work, fix it. It's really not that complicated, as you saw, and it's not that expensive. I do recommend to have the clock spring first before you start the job, though, because my Montero had to sit there for 3 or 4 days before I got the part in the mail. So anyway, thank you guys for watching the video. Let me know if you have any comments, questions, or concerns. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed, and we'll see you on the next one. All right, let's hit the road now. All right, bye.